Watching those cloudless skies today as those temperatures really break that record, but not a lot of clouds. Talking to the production assistant, she wanted to know when it was going to start to get cold around here, what winter is going to be looking like. It could be pretty severe when we're talking about how hot it is, and then we look at those extremes and we're talking about how cold it is and when it's going to be showing up. But right now, on more of the short term, we're looking at those temperatures right now outside. Everybody hanging out in those 90-degree marks, really making their way down into the 80s. Going to be hanging on to some of those lower 80s tonight with those few clouds pushing in overnight. Right now we're looking at that shade of red and orange covering the Concho Valley. Robert Lee really hanging on to those temperatures right now. Sterling City down about 20 degrees, believe it or not. And while the rest of the Concho Valley pretty uniform, and that's letting us know even without that cloud cover, that's how hot it got today, letting us know that the air over us is pretty uniform in temperature, allowing for a pretty uniform cool down throughout the rest of the night. But when we are talking about the upper level pattern, despite the heat dome being over us and those record temperatures, we're seeing a lot of zonal flow across the nation right now, seeing a lot of storms explode along this region. When we look off the west coast of Baja California, that's where Tropical Storm Eugene is. And you're going to watch as that storm try to pull its way in there with the heat dome, and then as it makes its way over Nevada and it starts to weaken that heat dome, look how strong it comes back with a vengeance all the way up to Wyoming, encompassing Colorado. So even though that tropical storm could weaken some of those conditions, look how much it deepens that trough. Once it does pass and shoots a lot of moisture out of our region, that heat dome's really going to come back and shoot those temperatures back up there. So right now, the severe weather outlook really keeping it around Illinois region. Saw a lot of tornado activity, and then across the Rocky Mountain Front Range always getting schwacked. But we're seeing those storms develop right across central Wyoming right now, seeing those tornadoes still being issued for parts of Illinois, really watching the southern states get hammered. But we're seeing the easterly flow, that westerly flow, push across the Gulf, really keeping those storms off to the west of us, seeing some of that storm activity up to the north that could push some of those clouds into our region tonight. But we're seeing a lot of that moisture being pulled out from the Sierra Madres out to the Gulf of California, and that's where we're seeing a lot of that activity. But most for tonight, going to see a lot of those clouds really drying up, seeing the atmosphere dry up around there, showing up on satellite. But when we look at the long-range forecast, we're seeing that's going to be Tropical Storm Eugene. As we see it push through by Monday early morning, we could see our first opportunity for some of those clouds. So we're going to send Shelby and Keon out there, get a good look at some of those conditions, and then it's going to heat back up and touch up into about 108. And then Tuesday early morning, look at the size of this storm right along Texas, Oklahoma. That's going to be our next opportunity. While we're still watching Tropical Storm Eugene potentially become post-tropical, still push more moisture into the atmosphere, and then look at it, just grab it and pull it along. That storm gets explosive again. Going to try again by Wednesday, and that's about as confident as I am going to be with that much moisture being up in the atmosphere. So again, tonight we're going to be dropping down into those upper 70s, seeing some clouds push in, but still holding on to some of the daytime heating. And then tomorrow we're going to make another run at some of those record temperatures. We jump up to about 109. Still hanging on to some of those clouds in the morning, but being quickly getting humid as we make our way through the rest of the day and that second week of August, where those temperatures are going to stay pretty steady as we make our way through the week. But by the time we get to Thursday, Friday, we could see potential for some thunderstorm activity as some of those storms could push through from Tropical Storm Eugene, while those lows really going to continue to stay around the upper 70 to lower 80 mark. And that's pretty much around the entire Concho Valley. Stay tuned. We'll have more after the break. You're watching KSAN Weekend News at 10.